we go. Just waiting for the mic to reset. Hey, good afternoon, Shaky SoCal. So, time for second track guide for this week, which is the Nordschleife. So kind of like what I did, I think the last time we ran the Nordschleife was back in Forza 7 in the 70s Ferrari F1 car. I'm going to do a similar thing here. I think I recorded a Rivals lap earlier in the week and just figured that would probably be just pulling that replay up and then just doing a kind of the track walk through that, since Nordschleife is a really long lap and I haven't rehearsed this part of my my speech. So just going to go through the replay. I'll point some things out, what I'm looking for. I think in the chat I kind of put a general like guidelines, like, hey, as you're practicing here, which I hope you guys all do practice. Daytona probably don't need much practice, so you can probably put a little more here. But let me get in. Let's do the Rivals. Let's just kind of go through what I'm seeing on the lap. Then I'll do the mock race and hopefully demonstrate some decent racecraft, but that's probably asking a lot. So S-Class. Oh, Nürburgring. Nordschleife. Go in there, and yeah, I gotta say, it's like, hey, land rail. Looks like land. So you have my example lap, which is at speed, not, and is a flying lap, so it's not like an out lap or an in lap. Land rails, don't let that. I haven't watched the full thing, but usually land rail, when I see Rivals times and they're way slow, it's usually because land rail's just kind of going at a pace to kind of make sure he understands where track limits are and all that good stuff. So you got two examples up there, but we're gonna use mine. I like mine better. Let's go ahead, and I don't need to get tuned. Let's go and watch the replay. It's going to take me a second to kind of get this because it's going to immediately go TV cameras and let's go. Okay, so pause. And what I want is I do want to, I don't know how much telemetry is going to help, but we'll just throw it up there for kicks and giggles. And camera type, we'll go to game cameras, and I'm going to go to the view that I use, which is the hood view. Okay, so turn one. My general thought, and I'll show this in the mock race, but usually on if you're pit exit, I typically just like to stay on the shoulder, through the first part of one and kind of rejoin where the shoulder ends, and figure that gets me offline enough that if someone's coming through at speed, they've got, they have the full turn in to get to the apex, and hopefully I avoid them. And then when I'm merging on, I'm on the right side of the track at apex, so that's just that'll be easier to show in the race. But first gear for me, again, driving down the hill. So first turn here, especially on cold tires, you are going to need to brake a little bit. It is somewhere between, it is about halfway. I think I hit the brakes a little too late on this, but it is between that 2 kilometer board there on the left side that you can barely see, and then the little twin trees there. That's as late as I think you'd want to go. So somewhere, it's a quick check brake, just to help get the car in. Again, I was a little bit too quick. You can see I'm a little off the apex, and I'll push a little bit wide. But this is where I'm going to first start talking about, with this car, with how squirrely the back end is, and even with traction control. If you're running sport traction control, it helps, but it doesn't. Being neat and tidy through here is going to be key. Any of the elevated curbs, any of the really severe elevated curbs, you want to be careful of, especially if you just kiss it and you're not fully on top of it and you're just on the side, can unsettle the car. And a lot of exit curbings, even the flat ones, depending on how much load you have in the car. I'll explain that a little more in detail as we get to one of them. Actually, I think the first one is here. So I get a little wide out. So like that exit curbing here, it's flat, but just be careful, if you're late into it and you're getting that outside rear on it and you still have a lot of load, lateral load on that tire, it might be enough to break it loose, to spin it up and have the car kind of lurch back across the track. It's one of those, if you feel like you're going to get out there, just crack the throttle a little bit, get the car settled and roll back in it once you got all 4 tires back on the track proper and the weights level. If I get a little wide there, and down the next couple of corners, as I'm coming down into here, and I is it Hasselbeck? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know all the corner names at the Nordschleife. You think I would have learned them all? Typically, I learn all the ones I crash at first, and then I kind of pick up from there. And I think this is Hassenbeck. Um, I'm looking, again in the broad daylight daytime. It's easy for me to see the first little dirt patch there. That's a very, for me, that's a good reference point as far as braking into these next couple of corners. Um, it is heavy braking down to third gear. If I get it wrong, down to second. But let me back it up and just kind of do it at full speed. Down to third. I got in the curbing there a little bit, and it pushed the car a little bit wide. So I just, I waited just a little bit longer before I started committing back to the throttle. Um, and here's where these next couple of left rights, I'd say there's a couple of apex curbings you can take advantage of. These are the apex curbings was mainly talking about. Now you don't want to try to straight line it, but you can get inside tires on them at the apex and not have to worry about getting the car squirrely. So usually I get a little bit there. I'll just probably just touch them here. This one I'll probably abuse the most. But when I abuse that one, here we're going exit curbing. It's exit curbing and it's high angle. Try and stay off of that. Especially, and again, we're all going to be pushing a little bit, so it's tempting that just be careful. If you just get that outside tire on it, it's enough. It might shoot you back across the track and it'll unsettle the car. I had a couple of moments on this lap as well. So try and stay off that one if you can. I'm breaking up the dirt patch there on the left side that you can just see there. Brake down to second. Late apex here. And now we're heading down to plug plots. I got away with that one. This is an exit curb here as well. If you're late out, you still have low in the tire. The rival lap, when I was the lap prior to this one, I got a little too far and actually snapped the car sideways, and I nosed into the wall on the left side. So be careful of this outside curbing. It's tempting, but if you hit it, make sure you're absolutely straight and level. Fourth gear, fifth gear, head into plug plots. Now, you can put it in sixth if you want. I personally, the couple of laps I've done, I prefer fifth. It will bang the rev limiter as you crest the hill, but I think that helps. For me, it helps get the car settled into the next really double apex right-hander. So it's crest the hill, car gets light, a little bit in the rev limiter. I'm braking at the end of the Armco here, where the tire barriers start. Still in fifth. So here's the first apex. This curbing is dangerous because you're at speed. I'm treating these next two corners as just this nice long double apexer. So it's really easy if you're trying to maximize your speed through here to get a little bit too wide. And again, because I'll still have some steering in on it. There's going to be weight on that outside rear that if it gets a little bit too far onto the pavement, maybe a little bit past it, it's going to cause the back tire to spin. It's going to hook the car. So just this is one of the places I usually expect, and I've gone off here too. And it's very easy to go too wide and hit the tire barriers and have it spit you back out across the middle of the track. But this is just one of those. Be mindful of of traffic here. Be mindful of being neat and tidy through here as best you can. Second apex here, still fifth gear. Roll it up. Get it up into sixth gear. Then down to I'll butcher the German here, Schwindenkreuz, or Swedish cross. So the braking zone for me here is I'm trying to spot the two danger signs, the triangle signs. To me, that's the start of the braking zone. So I'll actually hit the brakes here. And then for Swedish cross, this is one of those where I'm just trying to scrub enough speed and get enough weight onto the front of the car that I can get it into the corner. But I'm going to try and get back to full throttle as early as I can. So for me, the braking is the two triangle signs. Release the brake and turn in and start to roll back into the throttle is pretty much at the 5 kilometer sign or the Yokohama sign. That's kind of like the end of the brake zone. So I'll release the brakes there, roll back in. I'm back to full throttle here. Car's nice and set in, soft tires, they're nice and warm. The car should track out nicely, about to mid-track. And that's what I'm trying not to go too far out. You don't have a lot of room off on the right side. And the worst thing you can have happen here is you've settled in, you realize that I'm going to start to push off, and then you release the throttle. That's going to upset the back of the car as well. You might feel the car step out a little bit. So better to be conservative and be able to get back to full throttle and hold the full throttle through here. Even I had to, even I noticed I had to do a little check, a little bit of a check throttle. But even then, I didn't come fully out of it. It was only 20% out and right back on. Braking for the next corner is as soon as I am straight, wherever I'm at on the track. I'm actually trying to be at the middle, as far as I'm not going to go all the way out to the right side. I'd rather exit this corner about the middle of the track at worst. If I can get it back to the left a little bit, to set up for this, great. But also, I'm going to give myself wiggle room. I don't want to drop tires on the left side either, because there's really, once you get off that curb, you're going to be in the grass. It'll pull the car off that way. So I'll probably, more often than not, I'll probably be about the middle of the track at this point. But as soon as I'm out of the corner, it's straight. It's right to the brakes. And for me, down to second gear, pulled in inside, maybe a little bit of a late apex. Might let the car come out to the left. I think I pinched this one a little bit too much. But again, this is another one of those exit curbing. I'm going to try and stay off of it as best I can. If this will happen in the race, I'm sure, who knows, I'll probably even do it too. If you're following somebody through Swedish Cross and they've got it wrong and they go wide and they're off in the grass on the right side, or maybe you get off in the grass on the right side, there is no way you are going to be able to stop for the corner. You just get on the brakes, get the car slowed down. If you still have eyesight to them, just know they're gonna go to the end of the grass. They're gonna skip across, probably skip across, and at that point maybe get a little grip, but they should be going wide and maybe off on the other side of the corner. There's just not enough time. We're carrying so much speed through here. There's no way you can stop in the grass. So just let that happen and then cross underneath them on exit. Hopefully you're not ahead enough where someone that's gone off in the grass T-bones you through that corner. But that'll be a risk, I think, just definitely in the opening lap, because we're still trying to come to terms with the with warming the tires up. All right, out heading down to Foxhole. So again, I'm going to use a little bit of the apex curbing here. Generally, just keep it neat and tidy. As I get to the bottom of the hill and it starts to go back up, I'm trying to, for my braking point, I'm trying to spot. You can see kind of up the hill, almost about halfway up to the top of the crest of the hill there. You can see the bright white paint with the red, a little bit of the red paint, a little bit of the blue paint there. That's my braking. That's where I'm going to be braking for, coming out of Foxhole. So still 6th gear, get the car to the right side. I'm going to brake, but I'm going to kind of cheat it, the car back to the left side a little bit, because the apex is kind of at the crest of the hill. So brake down to 5th, can get on that inside curbing a little bit, then brake down to 4th, 3rd, and these next couple of ones I do wide entry, late apexes on. So 2nd gear here. Now, if I was in a less rear end skittish car, in 2nd gear, I would be all over the inside curbing, actually getting it up onto the flat part of the inside curbing for the exit. This car might not be such a good idea, but this is going to be, I'm going to do full speed here, in a second. This is one of those cases where listen to what my tires do on the exit, because I'm going to come out of the exit here. And again, this is the other one you're trying to get back to the throttle as early as you can, trying to carry speed out. And it's really easy to get that outside tire to kiss the elevated curbing, and just listen to what it does to the tire squeal and the attitude of the car. You can see the car start to walk across the track, and then I had to kind of get out and get back on the throttle. Even do a little bit of counter steer. You'll see the steering go to the left a little bit. So that's another one. Be mindful of just, and again, it is about, if there's a lot of weight on that outside rear, when you hit it, it's enough to upset the car. Now I'm on soft tires as well, so I've got a little bit more of a grace, the soft tire is a little bit more forgiving. So keep on the left side here. I'm gonna then kind of bring it back across past the rubber tree, brake just before the crane. So So it sets up nicely there. Down to fourth. I'm going to brake at the little arrow here on the pavement. Down to third. That's a little bit early of a turn in for me. Sometimes I like to try and take that one a little bit later, just so that I can avoid having to deal with the curbing here on the inside. So if I were to take a little bit later, I'd be a little bit more in the center. Then this corner is a little bit easier. I don't have to worry about hitting the curbing at all. Managed to stay off it there. Down to second. Late apex here for me. Here's the other part of here's one of my trouble areas that I'm just never good rhythm-wise. Braking at the dirt on the outside. Down to third. Up. Do need to brake here just before turn-in. This is a miss, hit, miss. So it's kind of a triple apex corner, but really you don't want to, you want to aim for the middle. Aim for the middle one. Um, for me, it's always the entry that always gets me. It's that I'm never. It's hard for me to get the balance right of the car going in. For the first part of it, mainly because I'm always tempted to try and carry out too much speed in. So I'll give it a little bit of a break here, get the car in. So I missed the first one pretty good. Hit the second, kind of missed the third, and that's hit, miss, hit. So that's one of my trouble areas that we'll see how well I do. Braking here on the hence word here. So I'm braking there, down to third, down to second. Again, late apex this one. Well, kind of didn't late apex that one. Heading down the hill. Bring the car back to the right. Brake just at the end of the curb. Down to third. Again, apex here. You can see how the curbing, you can see where people have gone off, where they've marked, like, the extra words, the tires have gone off. This is another one of those that if you get on it, that's fine. You could probably get away with it. Just be mindful coming back off the curbing. Again, it's all about how much weight is on that outside rear as you transition, because it is not quite as high angle as some of the other curbing, but there is a bit of an angle that's going to go up. So just, if you could be neat and tidy on the way out, great. If you're going to get on it, then it's like get up on top of it and then bring it back off the curbing. Brake straight, down to second gear, a little bit of a late apex. And then we're heading down to the Niki Lauda kink, where Niki had that very famous crash and fire in '76. Quick brake, late apex here, down to third. Again, another high angle exit curve that it's going to be, the car's going to naturally want to come out to the left side. Try and stay off of it if you can. I avoided it like the plague. And again, now heading up the hill. Great place to draft to try and make passes. So just communicate, be mindful, if someone on your outside or if someone's looking in the inside. I would say on this part of the uphill, if you can get alongside on the inside before that corner, then you should be in a good place. Just know that you're on the outside. Let's reverse this. If you're on the outside here and someone's on your inside heading into this corner, discretion is the better part of valor. Don't try and stick it to the outside, because depending on what tire they're on, depending on their confidence level, this kink, it's very easy for them to kind of push wide and push you off into the grass. So I would say if you're on the outside and they're kind of half alongside, maybe partially, it might just be to just crack the throttle, let them get in front of you, let them go, and who knows, maybe they go wide and you can get the run, the draft, and pass them by on the inside. It's my general thoughts. If you're going to try and stick a pass here, you better make sure you're fully alongside. I would not, like, if you're slightly overlapped heading here, I would back out on the inside. Again, this race is more about just being consistent and doing, setting consistent laps, not trying to, challenge everybody every corner. Because you can get a little bit of a run up through here. These next couple of corners, it's easy to go pretty much side by side. It's when you get here, now we're at the corner of courage, I believe is what Misha refers it to. The setup is bringing on the right side. What I'm looking for is, you can kind of see how the arm coat gets discolored. It gets a little darker. Then there's that nice bright white, brighter section there. Kind of corresponds with the tree there just to its left. That's what I'm looking for the braking for the corner of Courage. 6th gear, drop it down to 5th, keep it to the inside. Again, outside curbing, I'm trying to stay off of if I can, or if I'm going to hit it, I want to make sure the weight is evenly distributed. I don't want a lot of excessive weight on the outside. This is another one where if somebody gets it wrong on the way out, you can get a run side by side up through here. Another place I would look to making a pass. On my own, as you crest this hill, it kinks a little bit to the left. So where that kink is at the crest is, I'm gonna, I might do a cadence brake, just a little bit on the brake. It may barely register in the game. I'm definitely coming off the throttle to get the car turned in because it is an aggressive turn into the apex. Curb and brake at the start of the curbing. In previous games, I always tried to straight line it and kind of dive to the apex of the inside. I think this one I tried to keep it a little more kind of following the racing line, keep a little more to the left. I did miss my braking where I either I didn't brake soon enough or I didn't apply enough pressure to get the car rode down. I'm a little bit wide here on exit. But salvage what I can, bring the car back across, and we're heading up to the carousel. I'm going to stop it here. Setting up for the carousel. Again, if you got the braking line on, just follow the braking line. But if not, usually what I'm looking for is you can see kind of on the far side of where the carousel is, I see the two pine trees there. I'm aiming for the one on the right, the slightly lighter colored one that's kind of sticking up there. And it kind of lines up as I come up the hill, it'll line up with the inside curbing on the right side. So that's my straight line that I'm aiming for. So that's the first tree I'm aiming. The second tree I'm going to use is what I'm going to use to help me brake and get into the carousel. So for me, as I'm coming up the hill, get the curbing, kiss the curbing there on the left side. You notice I'm not adjusting the steering to stay on the left, not the left, the right. You understand. But it's this set of trees here is what I'm using for the braking. So I'm straight in, brake, 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 brake. Car just kind of comes back across to the left side of the track, and it drops me straight into the carousel. Now, if I've got the braking done right, I should be able to release the brakes here. The car is nicely in, and I can just hold the inside, and it's really just at this point, just balancing with the throttle and the steering. I want to try and be as smooth as I can through here. The exit of the carousel, again, I'm looking at the concrete patch where it squares off at the end of it. I'm aiming to straddle kind of point it off that right corner. Point it off there. It lines me nicely up with the inside apex curbing for this next right-hander. And up there we go. So problem area number 2, is it for me? I think. Problem area number 2. This is another place I always, I'm never consistent with. And for me, it's this cresting this left-hander going up the hill. I'm always either carrying too much speed in or I lose the back end of the car, it gets a little loose. But what I'm trying to do with this one is, as I get to the line, it is a little bit of a brake, still 5th gear, get it to the apex. Notoriously, the car I would drift out and I'd go wide here and I'd get into the grass, hit the wall, lose a whole bunch of speed, and then have to try and get back on the track. But I did it right this time. Got the car out, and I'm aiming to brake at the outside curbing here, down to 4th, through, up the hill. Now this next right-hander comes up a lot quicker than you expect it. So where the Armco barrier here that's painted orange, where that marking is, that's where I'm braking down, shifting to 3rd. That allows me to get into the corner here, roll back into the throttle, still 3rd gear. 4th briefly, braking for me about where the tree is, but kind of where the Armco goes from light to dark. Still 4th gear, and at this point, this is my favorite section of the track because it's a nice left-right switchbacks, and you can really, if you got a good handling car, it's a lot of it's just out of the throttle, let the car go in, roll back in, out of the throttle, roll back in, not a lot of braking. A little bit wide on the curbing, got to be careful there. Down to 3rd, out, braking at the crosswalk. And again, I take a wider entry here so that I can late apex right where it straightens up. Brake, still 3rd gear. I get a little bit wide here. and the car starts to walk a little bit. So again, it's got to be, trying to push as much as I can, but you got to be careful on the exit curbing, especially because even at this point, I probably still had a little bit of weight on the left side. But if I did it right, I'd be nice and straight out. I wouldn't be in the middle of the track. I'm gonna brake at the black Yokohama sign. Still set down to second gear, up to third. Gonna brake at Werner. Late apex. A little bit wide there. Just try and salvage what I can. Takes tail into the lap. Gonna start braking as I start to drop down into kind of the yump here. Brake down to fourth, double apex, that was the first one, second one's there. Keep it to the right side, bring it back across, fourth gear. Now we head in the last treacherous section. That this one, there's enough, undulation in the circuit where usually my test of like is like, can I do it flat? You can't do it flat. So it really is just as you crest this hill, as you're coming down, you're having to turn back, you're going to be cresting again. It's just, modulate the throttle. Don't depend on traction control, will not save you here. So just back out of the throttle, keep the car settled. Out of the throttle here, back in, out of the throttle, get the car through the corner. Once you're about at this point, if you've done it right, you should be able to get back to 100%, closing out the lap. I'm using the access road here as kind of a breaking point. Early on, I tend to cheat to the inside a little bit to give the car, if I miss it and the car starts to push wide, then I'm not right on the edge of the track and go off. Late apex here, brake the end of the fence on the left side. Low throttle, brake at the line, or just before the line, roll in. This one I'll exit a little bit earlier. Last couple of corners, I get this one wrong. But what I'm aiming for is, as I'm coming up the hill, and it's another one of those arm code changing colorations. Sometimes it's actually easier to spot like dusk or at night, just how the lighting changes. But there is where it gets a little bit darker and it gets a little bit lighter. It's about where I'm braking. It's almost at the end of the curbing, but I get it a little bit late on the turn in, go a little bit wide. It's another one of those. Be very, very careful. Managed to recover it. Third, fourth gear, roll it in. Now we're on to the dotting straight. So, especially the last part of the lap, if you're pursuing somebody, you're behind somebody, obviously, being behind somebody coming, if you're within that 8/10, getting the draft down this long straight is probably the best way then to get by them, especially if you're both going to pit, you'll be able to come out of the pits ahead. So still full throttle through here. Last couple of kind of the chicane here, I'm going to release the throttle as I get to this apex. Again, it's all about just getting kind of a little bit of weight back on the front. It makes this next setting up for the right-hander easier. And then I'll actually start braking at the apex here. And I'm just trying to time the braking, play chicken with the wall there on the Armco on the left side. And I got a little bit, didn't quite get it slowed down. I'm going to go really wide here. The whole idea is I want to try and late apex this corner for two reasons. If I was going to run hards for 2 laps, it makes, again, it's kind of late apexing to kind of set up for the end of the lap. But if I'm going to go in and pit, I want to try and get the car to the inside so that I'm on the right side and just drive it straight in the pit. Last thing I want to do is, especially if I got somebody behind me, is to go wide here and let them sneak underneath me, going into the pits. And now I've lost track position on the way out. And I've got to work then to try and get by them, on the next lap. So I get a little bit wide here. Just try and salvage it best I can. Brake just where the grass turns to pavement on the left side, down to first gear. Rolling the throttle, try and stay off the exit curbing or even on the exit curbing. That's a nap of the Nordschleife. A lap of the Nordschleife. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun race. This car is just skittish enough where it's going to, I think, again, my philosophy of the race with anytime I'm racing the Nordschleife, it's like I don't worry about what anybody else is doing. I just try to focus on being as consistent and tidy with what I'm doing, and we'll see where the chips fall. But let's go ahead and get out of this. So that Rivals Lap is up there if you want to watch that or look at what I'm doing, or try to, I'm trying to point out what I'm looking at so that you're getting an idea of what I'm doing when I'm, lapping the green hell. So let's get out of here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out to the main menu, and again, because I've been talking a lot, and this is there we go. I'm going to pause again, resetting the audio. Just going to do a quick pause. We'll go in, we'll set up what I believe it looks like it's going to be a 5-lap race. So we'll go ahead and do that, and be right back. Pause. Resume. Let me reset the mic. So for the Nordschleife, it is let's get the race set up first, then I'll talk later. Free play. Event setup. For Falcon. Okay, circuit race. Nordschleife, not 43 laps. I forget who it was way back in the day, way back in the Forza, like 3 days. I forget who it was. I'm not sure if he may even still be with the club. That he would do like once a year. He would just on his own just go and run 50 laps of the green hell, and it's like I like the challenge of the Nordschleife, but not that much. Starting time of day. Again, we'll go random. That's fine. Rolling weather random. I have put the request in to say the Nordschleife is difficult enough on its own in ideal conditions. I have requested to not have us run in any kind of wet conditions, but that's up to the race director to decide when the race loads in. Since I'm in control of this one, I'm not running in the rain. Rules, sport rules, 5x. I think this is all good. Standing. Oh, I had it on PI. I need to do random. Race tighter. Mandatory pit stops. I'm going to do 1. And even though, again, general rule is 1 mandatory pit stop, but we already know that we're going to be making multiple pit stops. Minimum. Well, let's finish loading into the race, then I'll talk tire strategy. I think that's good. Okay. First off, what's the game going to give us? Good. Night. I'll take night. A little change pace. I've run enough laps in the day, but tell us about the Nürburgring. That's dark.
The Nürburgring Nordschleife was nicknamed the Green Hell for its miles of undulating, twisting asphalt through the dense German forest. Not a course you can learn overnight, so be patient and take one curve at a time.
That's very sound advice. And I believe it was Sir Jackie Stewart that named it the Green Hell. So there's a little bit of trivia for you. All right, so tire strategy, we already know. We're running 5 times, 5x on the tire wear. So softs, you're only going to get 1 lap before they hit the 60% drop off. In fact, I think they'll hit 60%, as you're approaching the final set of corners. The hards, you can get 2 laps on a set, and they'll hit 60%. Pretty much as you're coming down the long straight. Which then puts the mediums at about 1.5 laps, which I'd say effectively just takes them out of the equation. I don't think there's any of us that are crazy enough to try and do 2 laps on the mediums where you're going to be spending half of that second lap past 60%. There's just going to be no grip. So strategy-wise, For some of the test laps I've run, and it is viable to, if you wanted to run a primarily soft tire for the race and pit every lap, and let's say start on mediums and then run softs all the way to the end. It's almost as quick. It might be marginally quicker than someone that wants to do, say, two stints, two stints, 4 laps on the hard tires, and then do the final one on the soft. So this one does become, there's a bit of track position thought into it. Maybe the guys at the front, maybe you take the risk and maybe run 2 laps on the hards and then run softs the rest of the way, and try and save that little bit of a gap on a pit stop. That again, it's all about, for every pit stop you make, you have to overcome that time lost on pit lane on the fresher set of tires. The Nordschleife of the pit lane is relatively short. It's short just in general, but then when you factor in the length of the lap for the Nordschleife, pitting every lap is not out of the question. So it just means you're going to be having to really push your pace every lap that you're out there, because you've got to make up that time lost on pit, plus try and gain on other people that either are running hards for 2 laps or are in the bucket ahead of you, that you've got to overcome that time gap. So we'll see how it plays out. I think what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to kind of do a mixed hybrid strategy. I think I'm going to run the first 2 laps on the hards, then I'll switch to softs for the rest of the race, and then that'll give me an idea. I'll run various times that they're all kind of in that 37 minute range. So we'll see how it holds out here. So let's go to car, and we'll go to fuel and tire. This is also one you're going to have to play with fuel, because you could load up, but this one I think if I run 60% fuel for the first one, that'll get me, I don't think it's me 4 laps, but I'm going to go to the hard. Let's see, because it was like, that's weird. It's 5 laps, but it's saying 60%. All right, because I was doing 30%. Hang on, you're going to have to bear with me on this one. So that's 2. Yeah, so it was saying 4 laps. So if I'm barely in the 4, that's where I'm getting a little like, yeah. So it goes into 4 about 55%. I might just play it safe. I think of my own as far as refueling, since we can't, it's usually in the 10 percentages. I think if you start 60% on the hards, you've got plenty of fuel for that 2 laps. Softs, 30% will get you the lap that you need, and you don't have to worry about fuel, and it's an easy number to spot in the list. But again, I think I'm talking too much. So okay, because we're not on Daytona, let's go ahead and put the traction control back onto sport, and go ahead and save. That's fine, and then we're going to hopefully, again, I'm preferring to run at night because I do want to kind of see what the visuals differences are, as far as things that I'm used to looking for, like how quickly do I spot them, and of course then I'm adding the challenge of the hard tires for the first stint. So let's see what happens. Oh good, I'm starting at the back. Yes, almost at the back. So again, starting with traction control, just get the rev limiter right at the red line, and then roll into the throttle. And usually more often than not, you'll get a good launch. That was the other thought I had. Actually, you know what? Hang on. And there was things I was thinking about doing for this race that to try and keep everything from bunching up. Let's go event setup. I'm going to put a 2-second delay. We're going to make sure I want to keep the same weather. Cars rules. Okay, race, grid ordering, random. Roll off delay. Hang on, I gotta find this. There we go. So I am going to bring this random standing. Okay, roll off delay 1 second. No, I want to go 2. And I think this just, again, there's so many turns and like that. It's just, I think it'll just make for an easier start. Now let's go ahead and start race. Okay, so I'm not quite at the back. I'm a little bit mid-pack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull over here on the left, and then once everybody else has gone by, may make for a more boring race, but we'll find out. I changed my mind. I'm just going to go with them. So my general rule on sport traction control is hard tires, not as grippy. Is even though I've got traction control on, I want to drive the car. This is why I wanted to do a delay. I'm still treating the throttle as if I'm not running traction control, because I only want it kicking in. And I want it to kick in when the car is straight to keep the wheels from spinning up. I don't want it kicking in to try and stop the back end of the car from sliding because the wheels have spun up. Because that just really bogs it down. Look, push wide a little bit. That was ill-advised. Other thing, advice I would give is there's a lot of corners that ideally are kind of late apexers. So the turn in, you could it's going to look tempting. You hit the braking zone, it's going to look tempting to stick your nose in, but it's going to get chopped off. And at best, you just make slight contact and you both keep going. At worst, you end up spinning the other guy out, and that's never a good thing. You can totally not see the graffiti there. So it's just, you want to be close enough to the car in front of you to take advantage of mistakes they make, but you also don't want to be so close that you get caught up in it. And generally, I would say it's always best to try and set up, like if you kind of know places where you feel comfortable making passes or trying to set up the passes, then try and set it up where you're getting the run out of the previous corner so that you're actually alongside before you even get to the braking zone. It makes the passes a lot more high percentage. And again, I'm trying to talk and drive at the same time, and this is one of those, it's like, the less I talk, probably the better. God, these hard tires. There's that out to curbing. Again, just little confidence lifts just to make sure that I'm keeping the car off the exit curb. Oh my. I cannot really have no distance at all. Ow. Dusky, you need to have a talk with the driver tire. See the tree. Let's see that. A little too much speed there. Get away with that one a little bit. There's just a couple places I wish they would have put some extra lights. That's about as much curbing as I want to take. Hopefully I can get... Definitely having to downshift it a little bit more. Some of these corners, I think just mainly confidence and tire day, or tire compound. Yeah, I'm 1.4 back, so I'm definitely not in the draft. Looks like I do have a little more straight line. Break a little bit earlier. Yeah, that's more like I want to do. Wow. Oh. Break right at the end of the colored pit boarding there. Let's have a better lap this lap. Tires. Oh my god. Drivatars. That's very late. Oh, that was miss hit. Me not, again, checking tires when I shouldn't be. Let's see if I can do a little bit better through here. The answer is no, because I can't see enough of the track far enough ahead to know what's going on. If I can lobby for no rain and no night. The worst case is I can always turn the braking line back on, but where's the fun in that? Oh, that was late. Take the outside here on the exit. I'm still kind of here. I'll leave you some room. 50%. A little bit earlier there just because I'm still on the hard tires. So the softs will definitely make this a little bit less treacherous. Because I'll have a little bit more, the car is going to be a little bit more forgiving. How are we doing? Yeah, so a lot of sliding, a lot of traction control trying to help the wheels spin. So we'll get off these tires, run soft to the end. Oh, thank God, that's done. Okay, soft, custom. Oh, I can't do 30%. I got to do 40. All right, fine. There's an option for 30% fuel. Where was I seeing that? Well. All right, so pit exit. Usually I keep it to the all the way out here. I rejoin at this point. Figured it's the safest way to get back on the circuit. Oh my God, yeah. I think at least I know what strategy I'm gonna run on Thursday. My tires can kiss my lily white butt. Left comes up a little quicker than I expected. Late. All right, can I get up this hill without crashing or going off the course? Probably not, but... There's just certain sections of this track where it's a combination of, there's one that the light is just like a really bad spot that blinds you from seeing turn in, but also, these headlights are not as efficient as I would want them to be, or at least as bright or able to for me to see far forward. Totally lost the line that I'm supposed to brake at there. A little bit. I just wish there was a little bit more light somewhere through there. Carved into Peter's time there a little bit, but I think my wreck and then getting spun by a driver car that had no awareness has probably sealed my fate as far as where I'm going to finish. But let's see what we can do. Tires. There's 30%. Why wasn't I seeing that before? Ugh. Making me carry extra fuel. It might be because I probably still had a little too much fuel where I was above that 30%, but I'll work on that. Tires, it's always going to be a little sketchy there. Still a little behind on some of these turns, and it's a visual thing. Since I can't see it quite as far in the distance, I'm kind of reacting later than I would, let's say, during the daytime. Up quick. Left, right. You get to upshift. Well, that could have been a little bit better, but break a little bit earlier here. That's a little bit better. Probably still a little bit slow, but I will take what I can get at this point. So there's a light on the left side that just totally obscures the entry to the corner. So I'm actually going to turn in at that light, that one that just passed. And it's just pointed a little bit differently. Being conservative. A little bit. Almost too hot into the carousel. Because I don't have quite a lot of confidence in, because I'm reacting later to things, just because I can't see them coming up as quickly or as early. It's one of these places where maybe I could just balance the car with the throttle and use the brake at all. I'm using the brake just to make sure I don't crash. Chop Peter's lead down almost in half.
Total time penalty is about a second.
Okay, they're doing a 2. Wow. Okay. I should have done 20. Oh well. Don't know what I'm thinking. This is why I always just put as much fuel in as possible and not have to, worry about it.
Final lap.
A little too quick into there. I'm just late for the first apex. That's why I got to back out of it a little bit more. Left, right. Looking a little bit better, but tree. Again, since I dropped right sides off, I didn't want to be aggressive getting back on the throttle. It's like get the car back on the track first, then roll back on the throttle. I was late as soon as I... braking hard enough for that. Just got off. Well, they call it the green hell. But yeah, I just got the left sides off, just off in the grass, and get the braking, and I got no braking. There was a case where the traction control was trying to keep the car from the back end from sliding and just bogged the engine down. I got no acceleration and way too shallow. That's okay. We're not under any threat from Gretzky. A little too much. Just remember, on the last lap, don't pit. You know, especially if you've been pitting all race. Ugh. Right into the tire. Oh, no. Oh, drive tire managed to hold the line. So that's the Nordschliefe. Yeah, 38-33. Yeah, my crashes didn't help, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 5-lap race. And yeah, tire. Again, tire strategy. I would not recommend. I would lean towards. I would not recommend the hards, especially if you're towards the back and you're trying to make up, for bucket gaps or bucket delays. I would just stay on the softest tire compound you can for the race and try and just make it up through pace. Because yeah, the hards with this car, just especially at this track, they're well, you saw. I don't have to explain it. If you were watching up to this point, you know how bad the hards were here. So anyhow, that'll do it for this track guide. Hope you guys have a great Labor Day and happy racing. There we go.